myself inside all this tension, a feeling I never was expecting. I don't see the pros, don't know the cons, forget the whys. Do you know why?
What is up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, for being subscribed. If you're not, go ahead and hit that button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like button. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this conversation. All right, we got to talk about Jonathan Majors. And to be honest with you, this isn't so much about Jonathan Majors, but it's more about Meghan Good, because it's just not looking good. Her standing by her man, if you will, going to court with him every day. You know, it's like she was in a relationship and a marriage with the guy who was a pastor, and forgive me if I don't remember his name right now, but they got divorced. They both issued statements regarding them, getting divorced. And it looked weird because it was also on the heels of her being in that show on Amazon, that Amazon Prime show that, I don't know, in my personal opinion, I didn't really care for it, but it got a lot of attention. And then she wasn't in a relationship after that. And so to go from being in a relationship with a pastor, not saying that was a good or bad thing, but I mean, in my opinion, I feel that she loved him and she sacrificed a lot in terms of her image and the things that she was used to be with this quote unquote man of God. And then they were not in a relationship anymore. And some people felt like he was using her for a come up. And I feel that multiple things can be true at the same time. He may have. It definitely, I feel, helped to expand his reach and more people knowing about him, being attached and connected to someone who was more of a celebrity, right? And I believe they met, I don't know if they met on the set of the movie that T.D. Jakes produced, that movie that Paula Patton starred in, and she was getting married. And man, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the movie right now, but if you know, you know. But I believe, Devin Franklin, that's his name. I believe that's where they met, on the set of that movie. But anyway, to go from being in that relationship to no longer being married to him, and now to be going to all of these court hearings, holding hands with this man who has been accused of threatening to take himself out and threatening violence and being arrested for actually committing abuse against his now ex-girlfriend, Grace Jabari, it just doesn't look good. And also, it's like, this isn't you going to court with a man that you allegedly love because they're on trial for, I don't know, like, let's just give an example. Driving under the influence. I'm trying to think of some things, guys. You can give me some, examples, if you will, but going to court with a man who has been accused of domestic violence against another woman, in my personal opinion, it just doesn't look good. And I don't care if they were seeing each other, as long as he was seeing Grace Jabari, or for a short period of time while he was still in a relationship with Grace Jabari, or if they just started seeing each other immediately after he broke up or she broke up with him. It just doesn't look good. So the story is that he was threatening to take himself out via text messages. This was all put out in court because they're going through the trial right now. So Grace Jabari read out text messages from him in court. In text messages read out in court by the accuser, it was revealed that Jonathan Majors referenced physical violence and threatened to take his own life after a particularly troubling incident in London. Grace Jabari, who previously dated Majors, read out loud text messages the troubled MCU and Creed 3 actor sent to her, in which he referenced incidents of physical violence during their relationship. Quote, "They will ask you questions, and as I don't think you actually protect us, it could lead to investigation even if you do lie. And they suspect something," one of the messages Majors sent in September 2022 read, per TMZ. In response, Jabari told Majors that she would tell her doctor she bumped her head. Quote, "Why would I tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you?" she wrote. Jabari cried while reading the text in court on Friday, December 8th. So the exchange was read out by Assistant District Attorney Kelly Galloway. The former couple were referring to an incident that happened in London 6 months before the alleged assault in New York City that led to his arrest earlier this year. The New York City assault is the focus on the trial, so details regarding a separate occasion of alleged physical violence are not admissible due to a ruling by the judge. The texts, however, were permitted to be read because they indicate conduct that is inextricably interwoven with the charged acts. In further messages, I should say, Majors told Jabari that he had thoughts of taking his own life as a result of their incident. "Last night, I considered taking my life versus coming home. I need love too. Or maybe I'm such a monster and horrible man, I don't deserve it, and I should just take my life. In this way, my existence is miserable. I want to die." She agreed not to go to the doctor to avoid any potential investigation, and he added, "I will probably take my life. It's not really contemplating anymore." Listen, I'm going to break it right here. That was all manipulation. I'm not saying that he wasn't feeling remorse, but not so much remorse for him hurting her, remorse for what it was going to do to him. This was all to play on her emotions to stop her from proceeding with calling the cops and reporting him. That's all that was. And he knew that she loved him, and he knew that she was probably relying on his support. So it's like, well, if he takes his life, what other options do I have? We're not married, so it's not like I'm going to be the beneficiary of something, right? Unless, I don't know, I'm not even going to go into all that, but you get my drift. So that, I don't believe is a lie. These were all text messages you read straight from the source, right? Text messages, exchanges between her and him. And I completely believe everything that was said. I don't believe that he was contemplating taking his life. I believe that that was his way of manipulating her and blocking her from moving forward with contacting the authorities and reporting him for what he did to her. So her saying, well, I'll just tell them that I bumped my head. This goes back to what I was saying before about him when I was discussing Jonathan Majors. I said that it's been proven, a lot of people, especially women who are in relationships, they will cover that person for the sake of trying to protect themselves, meaning hopefully this person won't do this again. They are supporting me financially. I need them. And they're focusing on not the busted lip or, the bruised ribs or, the black eye. They're focusing on the goodness, quote unquote, the goodness of this person and the good times and how he treats me when I feel loved, not when I'm feeling hurt and physical hurt by the hands of this a-hole. So I believe everything that was said. So for the people who wanted to come out and say, oh, this was just a smear campaign, they wanted to take him out, and destroy his career. These are his actions. And yeah, they said that what was done previously was not admissible in court, but these text messages, that's really all the jury needs and judge. That's all they really need to see that this man has a history of doing these things. Why would we believe that she was physically violent against him. If anything, she was defending herself, trying to protect herself. And maybe there may have been an incident where she was in the car with him. Text messages came through on his phone. She saw that these text messages were from another woman, and then she just started swinging and, hitting him or whatever. I'm not saying that that's okay, but if this woman was in a relationship with a physically abusive man, and this is what they're kind of used to, then that's not unusual. I'll just put it like that. So the story continues. In response, Jabari wrote, "Jonathan, you can't say this. I'm going to have to call someone. I'm sorry for not hugging you this morning. I love you so much." Per the cut, she was asked why she didn't reveal how she got her injuries and replied, "I was scared of the consequences of it. Still wanted to protect him, I guess." And see, this is what I was saying. So in opening statements of the assault trial on the 4th, Assistant District Attorney Michael Perez accused Majors of showing a cruel and manipulative pattern of psychological abuse towards Jabari. Perez also said that Majors demanded total compliance during his relationship with his ex-girlfriend and wanted her to act similarly to Michelle Obama and civil rights activist Coretta Scott King by making sacrifices for him. Listen, first of all, Michelle Obama and Coretta Scott King were wives, first and foremost. And two, who does he think he is? This man, I have nothing for him. If anyone wants to continue to sit and cheer him on like Meghan ridiculously, in my personal opinion, is doing, I'm sorry. You're just wrong. And she just looks foolish going with him to the court, in my personal opinion. I don't care if she wants to be in a relationship with a man that has a history of allegations of abuse and may soon be convicted of that. That's her choice. I'm not saying it's a wise decision, but what I will say is going with him to the court instead of just taking a back seat and waiting for him at the condo, the apartment, the mansion, hotel, wherever they're staying at together. I would prefer she do that than going with him to the courthouse, because walking alongside him, holding his hands like he's some civil rights activist that's being charged for standing up for his community or whatever, when he was allegedly beating somebody down, another woman, like she is, I just feel that is sad. So you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for being here, for liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. Until the next time, I just wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.